Hey, what's going on, friends? My name is John Waldman. I'm a filmmaker based in New York, and today we're going to talk about color grading, and specifically how I color grade and match my Sony FX6 and my Sony FX3. You know, one of my favorite things about the Sony FX6 and FX3, they share just about an identical sensor. Having two cameras that match so well makes my color grading process really easy. Let me just preface this by saying I'm by no means a colorist. You know, many people have complimented the way I color and asked me how I do color my footage, so I figured let's make a video about it. A typical setup for me, you know, I shoot a lot of interviews, whether, you know, it's for corporate, documentary, commercials, whatever it may be. My A camera is an FX6, my B camera is an FX3. I'll usually put a 24-70 on my A camera on the FX6, and I'll usually put the 70-200 on my FX3 for the B camera. I have one tool that I've been using religiously, probably for almost 2 years now. I've already talked to a lot of people about it, and I know a lot of Sony shooters and other camera shooters know about this, but it's Phantom Luts. Phantom Luts have completely changed my life. I have the ARRI Looks pack, and it helps bring my color grading footage from S-Log 3 to a Rec 709 look, basically getting me anywhere between 90 and 100% of my color grading process. It is better than any Sony S-Log to Rec 709 LUT that I've ever used. It is the best conversion LUTs I've ever used, and there is some beautiful color that goes along with it. So yeah, with the ARRI Looks pack, you get 5 different ones. There's the neutral, tungsten, ice blue, utopia, and Jamaica. The legacy ones give more of a contrast and a punchy, crushed blacks in your image if that's what you want right out the box. And yes, so Joel from Phantom Luts, he's an amazing cinematographer and colorist. With this pack, he has basically emulated a ARRI Rec 709 look and has matched them to his ARRI cameras. I've been a fan of these LUTs for years, and they've completely changed my color grading process. If you are one of my film friends, if you've worked with me, you know I've been talking about these for years. On all my shoots, you'll even see on my monitor I have them loaded up, and depending on the look or the lighting scenario, I'll choose a different one, and also depending on the camera. So if you have a monitor that can have LUTs loaded onto it, I recommend doing that. And what I like about the Small HD 502 is you could change the percentage. So sometimes putting the LUT at 100% is a little bit too much, so I like to dial it back. And this is also good for clients when you're on set, because sometimes clients don't understand what a log image looks like. So just kind of giving you a little preview of what the image is gonna look like is great. And then it's also good for you because it's saving you time in post. So you already know, oh, you know what? I was monitoring with that Utopia LUT, let's go with that one. So you already kind of know what the image is gonna look like. And what I also love is, you know, Joel is always working on these LUTs. Whenever there's an update, you get them sent to you for free. So once you buy it once, you're a member for life. This has changed my life. It does 90, 95, if not 100% of my color grading work. So what I want to do now is go in and show you a couple scenarios where I show you that extra 10% of what I'm doing to match these cameras. All right, let's dive right in. All right, so right now we're gonna do a quick color session. This is a couple of interviews we did in one space. I'd say this is a pretty typical day and a pretty typical setup for me. Anyways, A camera here was the Sony FX6. The B camera was the Sony FX3. The A camera had the 24-70, and the FX3 had a 70-200. So yeah, like I just said, it's a pretty typical day for me. So I feel like this would be a really good example. So yeah, let's dive right in. The first thing we're going to do is pick our LUT, and I recommend doing it in the creative tab. This way you could dial in the intensity that you want. I like to monitor with LUTs, and I remember I liked the Utopia. So let's start with that. So that's the FX6 one. And now let's get a LUT on here. We'll do the Utopia for the A7S III. It's an FX3. So kind of right off the bat, this is kind of, let's just kind of get started. I'll bring the saturation up a little bit. Let's kind of go into the curves, get a little more contrast going. I definitely feel like this clip is a little darker. Let's also get the saturation back and do kind of a similar sort of thing. At quick glance, this one seems a little bit warmer. So what I like to do is let's add a little bit of blue in there. Yeah, so I mean, just really that quickly, I think that's a pretty decently good match. Yeah, see, super quick, nothing too crazy. The LUT, you know, gets me 90% of where I need to go, and then bam, Yeah, I mean, I think that looks pretty dang good. Just as far as like a super quick edit, these look like they both match well. The values are pretty similar. The color is good. Yeah, let's move right on. I know I want to go with the Utopia, so let's just start with that. And maybe for this example, I'll just show you what the Legacy version. See, that one's already a little bit more crunchy. Let's give that a try. All right, so right off the bat, the first thing you can see is this camera's definitely underexposed, so let's get that exposure back. All right, so I usually still like to just kind of start with my base color on the A camera. And I definitely recommend utilizing the curves. This way you could like specifically dial in, different colors and looks that you want. So don't be afraid of that. Now I could see, it seems like there's a little bit too much red in the mid-tones. Offset that a hair. Let's just get some saturation. I mean, for my money, I already think that's looking pretty dang good. So let's see what we're rocking with here. All right, so right off the bat, you can see big difference in color. So let's get that kind of back. We're definitely in like a little bit more of a bluish, pinkish zone. And I'll just kind of keep cooking this. Let's get the saturation up. And I always find it's always nice to add a little bit of red into the midtones. That's where your skin tones are going to lie. I mean, looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks good. Let's move on to see very quick, minor adjustments, nothing too crazy. Let's move on. Let's try neutral for this one. Give it a different vibe. And I'm usually always kind of keeping my Luts here at 100%, but you could dial it back, dial it up, kind of depending how you want to do it, but that's just kind of been where I like to live personally. I mean, that right there, that looks dang good. So let's fix this one now. This one I think is a little bit too warm. Yeah, for my money, I think it looks pretty good. Kind of over on this part of the screen, we're getting a little bit of spill from the window, so that's why you're seeing it a little bit more in here, but it still matches with this. It's a little warmer over here. These are just kind of the things we run into when we're on set if, don't have complete control of everything. And also just trying to make, 3 different looks in, not a huge space, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, guys. I think this is, again, not a master colorist by any means, but I think those two match pretty dang good and did it pretty fast. So we recently shot an event, and we were mixing Sony FX6, Sony FX3, and A7S III. So I figured this would be a good example of, some things to show. Right out the gate, let's get our LUT on. Always like to add a little bit of contrast. Feels a little green, so a little red, a little bit of blue. So, all right, so this clip, let's put the LUT on, get some saturation up. Now let's get some contrast. I'd like to start like right in the middle, down in the shadows. Feels a little bit too warm, so I'm gonna add a little blue into the mid-tones. You know, this looks good. I mean, just checking that out just real quick. I'm not really doing anything too crazy, you know, with any of these clips. Let's see if any of these, like nothing, you know, nothing too crazy. Pretty straightforward. And another thing I do like to do also, depending, and again, this is, as you can see, minimal color work and like mostly just the LUT doing most of everything. These top two layers are just added a little bit of film grain, but again, this is just with the Utopia LUT and just some basic correction. Really nothing too major here. And a couple other things that I like to do on set is just as far as making my color work well is getting your white balance good in camera. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've noticed the FX3 and the FX6, their white balance isn't exactly the same. I feel like it's always a couple hundred degrees Kelvin of a difference. So one thing that has been useful for me is I use a white balance card that, you know, and then you can just kind of put your little dropper in Premiere. That's helpful. That I've used per request of a client. I think you need a special software to kind of unlock that in Premiere or DaVinci. I've honestly never gone that way because truthfully these Phantom LUTs do most of the work for me. If you're getting into more of an advanced color grade, maybe use that. I use that for a seamless backdrop shoot. Client from the agency wanted it because the editor or colorist wanted to use that because they had to match a seamless to a very specific brand color. So that could be something else that could be helpful in your color grading workflow. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful. I'm very excited to get it out there. I feel like I've explained this to people and figured, you know what, let me just make a video so I could send them right there. I hope it was helpful. Phantom LUTs, big fan. Super stoked to be a partner with them. Anyways, guys, that's about it for today. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned something. Let me know if you have any other tips below for color grading, some stuff that I should be trying. Again, I am by no means a colorist, but I like to think my colors are all right. But all right, anyways, guys, can't leave without a cheers. Bye.